E3 has come and gone, so let's break down the top 10 things that come out of it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
So I'm trying out something new here. Today. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to load it yet. I'm going to try to do video. It's something that I intended to do originally. Ever since I started, I wanted to actually not just do audio. I wanted to eventually develop into video. So I've been practicing. I've been doing a bunch of different stuff. This one's, like I said, this one I'm not going to load the video yet. I'm just going to test some stuff out. I've always been testing stuff out from the very first podcast. And so far, I think it's gotten some pretty decent results. The reason why I decided to actually start video now is because, well, I originally wanted to get better at not having to pause. My issue is that I paused a lot. So I had to stop, gather my thoughts, and then I would continue an idea, and then it would make for a really fucked up recording because I would have to stop, edit that out, or I didn't like the way I said something, or I didn't like where I was going, because I tend to ramble on from time to time. If you've been listening for a while, you've noticed I ramble on, so sometimes I would just catch myself, stop, or I would stutter a lot. I'd be like, So I think that I'm at the point where I've gotten a little bit better at it, and so I'm like, you know what? I'll risk it. I'll start trying to do video now, because imagine having to cut out, because the way I want to do it super simply, like the easiest way possible, because I hate editing video. I despise it. I know how to do it. I'm like a butcher. I just cut, paste, but I hate doing it. Audio, I don't mind. I've been doing it for a really long time. I think I'm pretty decent at it. But video, I find it super annoying. I'm not a visual guy. I'm more of an audio guy. So imagine having to cut and even out and match the audio where I did the cuts in the audio, where I did the cuts in the video, and then it would be all jumpy and it would suck. So what I decided from the beginning was like, you know, I need to get a little bit better just at fully recording a podcast, like not stopping at all. Just keep going with an idea and not having to pause, because that would just totally butcher everything for me. Like the first podcast actually took me a good few hours to do. I think it was around 4 hours because I kind of overdid it. But eventually I could just, like, for example, yesterday's podcast was almost an hour long and it took me a little bit over an hour to do it. So I'm at the point where I feel more comfortable with recording both things. I'm still going to fuck up a little. I still fuck up a little. But you know what? I feel it's like a good risk to take. It's a good point to start risking it and try to venture out. Now, I'm still not sure exactly how I'm going to do it. Like I said, I'm going to try to do it the easiest way possible. Just show a picture of what I'm talking about, and in the corner, just me talking, like a little webcam thing. That seems like the easiest way, right? Like right now, I got my phone recording me. So I will just test some stuff out afterwards. The problem is, it's going to take a little bit longer. Well, first off, big issue number one, I can't load audio into the iHeartRadio app. Oh, by the way, if you want to listen to the podcast, you can find it on the iHeartRadio app. Just find it as The Show Presents Super Dario World. Type that in the search bar. You'll find it right there. Or you can always find it, you can still find it on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Just type in Super Dario World Podcast right there. Any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can always find me at Dario the Show on Instagram. Easiest way to contact me, always through there. But I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I can't load video onto the iHeartRadio app, and so, by the way, looking at myself is really throwing me off. It's really throwing me off. But at the same time, it's like I'm talking to somebody. It's an interesting experience. Thank God nobody else besides me is gonna ever watch this. So who cares? Anyway, so I got my phone recording me right now, and since I don't have a video editing software in the computer here at work, I will have to do it on a separate computer at home. And I lost my train of thought again. So I cannot load video onto the iHeartRadio app. It's purely audio. So this would have to be a YouTube thing. However, I'm currently not very pleased with YouTube, and that's one of the reasons why I thought, you know what, maybe I'd stop. But the big reason why I wanted to do video is particularly for my Game of Thrones rewrites. I feel like it's super important for the Game of Thrones rewrites to have like at least a visual component to help people out. People have been begging me for help or to be more to explain a little bit more, because sometimes they get a little bit lost. And I think if I'm going to be telling a story, the easiest way for me to do it is just to give you a little bit of pictures. Like, if I'm talking about Samuel Tarley, a picture of Samuel Tarley. That way you know who I'm talking about. So that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to do it now. I still wanted to work on my skills a little bit more, but that was one of the big reasons why I wanted to do it. And right now, honestly, it's weird. It's throwing me off. I don't know where to look. It's really... Anyway, so I'm not happy with YouTube. YouTube's done a lot of shady stuff recently, and so I considered, you know what? Maybe that's not the best option. But also, there's Twitch, there's other options, and you know what? Fuck it. Let's just see how it goes. I mean, I'm not going to censor myself. I'm not going to change my opinions just because of YouTube policies. In fact, it would just help me prove a point, and there's still other options. So I figured, you know what? It's a risk worth taking. It seems like it could be a good idea. However, those videos would take a little bit longer to show because I would have to edit it out. So they might be a day late. They might be 2 days late. But I think it would be more fun just to watch it with the video. I think. I mean, I started film for a reason because I thought that audio and video work well together. But anyway, so yeah, that's my newest thing. I'll keep you updated on how that goes. Right now, I wanted to say it just so as a preview, as a tease, and also because I had to acknowledge that there's a camera on me right now, and it really throws me off. So if I sound a little weird or weirder than normal, it's because of that. Anyway, so also I wanted to give a couple of shout-outs. Today is my older brother's birthday, Hector. So Hector, happy birthday. You are the best older brother I have. I can't say he's the best brother I have, but I can't say he's the worst brother I have. Although, if he's my best older brother, technically he's also my worst older brother. Anyway, happy birthday. Can't edit that out now. I got it on video, but I guess I could because I'm not going to show him the video. Anyway, point is, happy birthday. You're the best. I wish you the best. He is currently on vacation, and so I sent him a message earlier today, saying happy birthday, and also said, hey, you know what? It's your birthday. I'll talk about whatever you want on the podcast. But he never replied, so I assumed he either doesn't want me to talk about anything or he's busy. Then also, it's my buddy Jerry's birthday, one of my best friends since all the way back to... Well, he wasn't my friend. I know him since all the way back to elementary school, but he wasn't one of my friends then. In fact, we kind of had issues at the beginning because he always excluded me from one particular game. It was the dumbest game ever. I don't even know how you say it in English. I don't even know what the game is. Hot potato. But it was a really stupid game. But for some reason, he always banned me from it. So we didn't get off to a great start. But eventually, we grew closer. And now I took the opportunity to throw that in his face. But anyway, it's his birthday as well. It's probably my only friend's birthday that I'll never forget because it's the same as my older brother's. And so happy birthday to you, Jerry. I gave him the same offer. Like, I'll talk about whatever you want. And he said, oh, do you want to talk about the Robert Pattinson being Batman thing? Have you talked about that yet? And I said, yeah, twice. once when it was a rumor, and once when it was confirmed. He's like, oh, well, I haven't listened. I'm like, oh, well, you son of a bitch. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a great friend listening. You know what's the worst part? You're not even going to listen to this shout out, you son of a bitch. And you know what's his excuse? He's like, I'm just throwing him under the bus. Like I said, he's probably not going to listen. I asked him, like, dude, why haven't you listened? And he said, oh, well, because I don't understand podcasts, and so I don't know how to listen to it. It's like, dude, you can listen to it on SoundCloud, on iTunes, on the iHeartRadio app, and YouTube. You can't tell me you don't know how to use fucking YouTube. And you're like, well, the first three no, but the last one, yeah, sorry. So, happy birthday to you, Jerry, I guess. Happy birthday to you, Hector. I wish you many, many, many more. And as far as I know, things are going great for both of you. One of them's getting married. One's about to be a dad. So, very excited. I'm about to be an uncle. And I'm about to go to a wedding. Weddings are great. I love weddings. There's only one part that I don't like about weddings. But it's that the hangover that comes with it. You can't not go all out in a wedding. Especially if it's out of town. So, looking forward to those. Anyway, but okay. Let's get started on this, and I'm not going to do the regular music thing because, again, on video. But okay, let's get started on this. Wake the fuck up, samurai. We got a city to burn. Okay, so let's get started. This is it, man. E3's gone. This was my baby for a week. I spent way too much time looking at videos and reading articles from E3. I took this very seriously. I took E3 very seriously. I take it very seriously every year, especially when P1's reached out saying like, dude, you know what? I appreciate that I don't have the time to look through all these things, so I like that what you're doing, you're simplifying everything. I know where to go now. It's awesome. Thank you. So you're welcome. Random P1 that sent me a message appreciating it. I like hearing that my work is appreciated. But okay, so I need to clarify. This is a top 10, but there's 5 things that I kind of need to explain why they weren't there. And they're mostly all not there for the same reason, and that's because they're about to come out. So we already had a lot of information of these. So E3, they showcased a little bit more stuff, a little bit more details, a little bit more gameplay, but we already knew pretty much everything that we needed to know. Also, most of these are sequels. Actually, yeah, they're all sequels. So they're not reinventing the wheel here. And so let me get these out of the way because I know that people are going to yell at me. So first off, the thing that did not make it was, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which comes out November 4th, 2019. John Berthal, who plays Shane in The Walking Dead, and he plays the Punisher, he came out with his dog, and this was apparently a great moment in E3. I don't get it. I mean, I love dogs, but the dog didn't do anything, so just having a dog walk out on stage doesn't really seem like that big of a deal to me. But, people love dogs, okay? I mean, I get it. But to me, it wasn't top 10 worthy, okay? Also, the game was all about to come out, and Ghost Recon hasn't really changed in forever. It's pretty much still the same thing. So that's why it wasn't worthy of it. We got Doom Eternal coming out on November 22nd, 2019. The only thing they really announced is they're going to add the battle mode, which is going to be like online competition, 1 Slayer versus 2 demons so far. That did not seem like that big of a deal. It's going to be the same Doom, and if it's the same Doom, it's great. The last one was fantastic. It's one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played. So as long as it's the same thing, it's going to be cool. Wolfenstein Youngblood. This one looks a little bit more action-packed, but it comes out in a month. Well, a little bit more than a month. So, and they announced that it's going to be co-op online, blah, blah. So it didn't seem like, we already knew this. We know what the game's going to be about. They just amped out the action. So that's why I wasn't there. Pokemon Sword and Shield. They got to explain the Dynamax a little bit more. We got to see a little bit more of it. We got to see how the open world, which is really cool. I loved it. I already pre-ordered this fucking game. Actually, I haven't, but I'm already set to pre-order it. I keep forgetting. I should do it right now. And we saw a little bit of in-game mechanics, which was all cool. But it's going to be the same fucking Pokemon RPG. It's going to be the same game, and it's going to be great. So nothing really new to report there, so not in the top 10. And Borderlands 3, which comes out, by the way, that one comes out November 15th, 2019. And then Borderlands 3, which comes out September 13th. So it's almost out as well. All these games, they're almost out. They come out this year. And honestly, if they're just the same thing as the game before, that'll be fantastic. It'll be great. I don't want them to change Borderlands. What they did last time was perfect. Well, the previous 2 times, except the ending for the first one. I will never forgive you for that. That was stupid. But it's getting better. It's super funny. It's great. It's a great franchise. Just do the same thing. And that's why I kept them out of the top 10. However, I did need to mention them because I knew that somebody was going to attack me for it. But okay, let's get into it. The top 10 from E3. These are the top 10 things that I thought came out of E3 this year. And number 10, and I know this is kind of weird because I just mentioned the things before that I didn't want to, because they were the same thing as before, and this one is the same thing as before. But to me, in the top 10, it was the announcement that The Witcher 3 and Alien Isolation will be available for the Switch. Now, it's not a big deal because, it's the same game, blah, blah. But it is a big deal that it's coming out for the Switch. I mentioned this in an earlier podcast when I talked about just Nintendo, when I talked about the Nintendo conference. The Switch has still got a lot of room to grow, and it's getting more and more serious games, bigger games, more complex games. The Witcher is fucking huge. It's a huge game. It takes up a lot of your time. So, and it was considered to be more mature. Like, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild is a little bit cartoony. The Witcher is an open world. It's a little bit more mature. It's darker. And so the Switch just keeps absorbing bigger and bigger titles and more mature titles. So eventually, it's going to take over. I mentioned this before, that the Switch still has a lot of gas left in the tank. And so it's a big deal that bigger and bigger titles are coming into it. Because Witcher came out years ago. came out years ago. It was the game of the year. It came out years ago. But now it's getting new life on the Switch. It's like a fresh game for the Switch. It's going to be a different experience on the Switch because you can play it anywhere. So I'm playing Red Dead Redemption right now. I wish I could play it on my Switch. I would be playing right now as I'm doing the podcast. I'm not even kidding. In fact, you know what? I'll one day do a podcast with me playing on my Switch. I can do it. I will be cussing a lot. It depends on what I'm playing. But I'll do it. You know what? You can't see me yet, so I'll just pretend like this is the one I'm doing it. So, okay. Anyway, that's number 10. Big deal. Number 9, we got Fire Emblem, The Three Houses. They announced that it's coming out 7/26/19. Now, I know how this one looks compared to the ones that I said before, but the reason why I put it as number 9 is because they changed the mechanic of the permadeath. And Fire Emblem, from the people, I have not really played this franchise, but I spoke to a lot of people who have, and what they said, the consensus is that this is a must-own game. This is maybe the first must-own game in the franchise, even if you're not a fan of the franchise. It's going to be that good from every single thing that they read and they understood. Me, from what I read, it was like, well, that sounds pretty much like it's going to be the same thing. But they're like, no, that's very different, and this is going to change the mechanics, going to change everything. So this one, I'm just giving credit to the people who threw it out to me because I respect their opinions. They know their games. Number 9, Fire Emblem, Three Houses. Number 8, we got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Now, I mentioned this, that there was not a lot to understand from the trailer. It looked really weird. It looked like the anime. But after seeing some gameplay and reading some reviews from the people who played it, it turns out, by the way, for those of you who don't know, Dragon Ball Z is an anime. It's, what's it called? The Shogun? Is that the word? Shogun Fighter? Anyway, doesn't really matter. So, it's an anime, and it pretty much, how can I explain it? How can I explain Dragon Ball Z? Basically, big action fights, anime. I can't get into explaining Dragon Ball Z right now. Okay, there's magic Dragon Balls, and if you collect them all, you can make a wish. And the main character pretty much is an alien from the planet Vegeta, they're from the Saiyan race, who are basically conquerors, it's a warrior race, and so he was sent to Earth to conquer it, but he hits his head and he becomes a nice guy, and he was raised to be a nice guy. But he's super powerful. Is that fair? I think that's fair. Anyway, that really hurt my head. But anyway, supposedly, from what I've read, this is going to be the most, what's the word I'm looking for? I even saw the word here. The most faithful to the anime. So it gets the anime right. That's how they said it. Finally, there's a game that gets it right. And mainly, it's because the power levels are not really fair. Now, in the anime, sometimes the main character, Kakarot, or Goku, his real name is Kakarot, but everybody calls him Goku because that's his human name. Anyway, so Goku faces guys who are way out of his league. Way out of his league. Let's just say Goku has a power level of 1,000, and he's fighting against somebody whose power level is 12,000, which is a thing in that world. Anyway, so they're saying that this actually will put you in that situation, and it's an open world. So it's an open world Dragon Ball Z that feels and looks like the anime. That is super awesome. Check out the gameplay trailer. It looks very interesting. It looks very good. I expected nothing from this. I thought that there's too many Dragon Ball Z games out there already. But apparently, they finally got it right. So, good on you. Number 7 for the top 10 from E3, we got From Software and George R. Martin's announcement of Elden Ring. It was just a quick little trailer, but it looks awesome. And after reading into it a little bit more, it turns out they explained what George R. R. Martin's role for the story was. He didn't really write the story. He kind of developed the lore of the world. Now, From Software, they are the developers of a franchise called Dark Souls. Now, Dark Souls, I've always said that it's one of the hardest video games out there. It's one of the hardest video games franchises out there. I've never seen anybody who's having fun while they play Dark Souls, but everybody who's played Dark Souls loves them. You get a little badge of honor saying that I beat Dark Souls. I got good. You have to get good to beat the game. So they love it. It's fantastic. To me, I see the way how they're suffering when they play, and it's hysterical. Honestly, it's great. Do yourself a favor. get somebody a Dark Souls game and just watch them play. It's hysterical. I love it. My kid brother, he loves these games. And I just remember walking by, and he's going like, oh, real cute game. Real fucking cute game. You fucking, oh, you son of a bitch. You're fucking cute. That's real fucking cute. And I'm just going by like, sucker. You masochistic son of a bitch. So, anyway, it's a brutal game. It's a brutally hard franchise. And they're teaming up with George R. R. Martin to create the lore for the game, who is also a brutal writer. So, I'm very excited. It looks very Lord of the Ringsy. If you watch the trailer, it gives you, it's kind of like if Lord of the Rings and Dark Souls had a baby. So it looks very interesting. I'm very excited for that one. And I like that it's not a George R. R. Martin original story, but he did help out with the lore. He was just kind of a backup writer. Not really backup. There's another word for it, but he was supporter. Yeah, no, there's a word. I will remember the word eventually. But anyway, that's it. Number 7 looks very interesting, very promising, and it will be the first From Software game I play for sure. I'm not. It's a can't miss for me. But I'm a huge George R. R. Martin fan. Anyway, for number 6 we have the actor. This is not a video game. One of the actors and producers from the TV show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I consider to be one of the greatest comedies of all time. It's super dark. It's hysterical. He went out with Ubisoft and announced that they partnered up to create a TV show. Now, the TV show is called Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet, and it's pretty much about the creators of a MMORPG, and they're about to launch their first expansion. So it's about basically a life in the office with these people. It looked really interesting. Honestly, Rob McEnelhy, or however you say his fucking name, Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's probably the least funny character in there. Maybe. I don't know. D's pretty bad. T's pretty bad. But he's my least favorite of the guys. Let's just say that. All right? Is that fair? He's still super funny, but he's my least favorite of the guys. I'm a Charlie guy all day. Dennis all day. Freaking Frank all day. But anyway, it still looks pretty good. And apparently the Charlie Day will also be one of the producers, and Dennis will also be one of the producers. So it's good all around. It's got a lot of potential. I'll check it out. And nobody expected, nobody saw it coming, because It's Always in Philadelphia. I believe it's still going. So, should be fun. That's okay. So, we got that. We're up all the way up to number 5 right now. So, I'll do a quick recap of the top 10 all the way up to number 6. So, for number 10, we got The Witcher 3 and Alien Isolation being announced for the Switch. Fire Emblem 3 Houses for number 9. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot for number 8. Number 7, we got Elden Ring from George R. R. Martin and From Software. That's a really fucked up name to give your fucking developing company. It was from Software. That's just stupid. Anyway, and number 6, we got the announcement of Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet by the producers of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Producers and a star from Sunny. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Stupid camera's really throwing me off. I feel a lot of pressure right now not to fuck up, and it's getting to my head. It's really weird. It's like, and also I'm looking at myself, judging myself. It's hard, but it's an experience. Practice makes perfect. I've always said it. Practice makes perfect. Anyway, so for number 5 of the top 10 of E3, we got the new Avengers game by Square Enix. This one comes out May 15th of 2020, and they said this game actually took a lot of heat from fans. They're saying like, they don't look like the characters from the movie. No, they don't. It was, what do you expect? They took characters from the comics. They took their own spin on some of the characters. It's Square Enix, they're great. So get over it. It's not a big deal. It honestly, if you're gonna end up customizing them anyway. So what's the big deal? Anyway, they announced that it's gonna be a 4-player online co-op, and the big thing for me, not just that it's the Avengers, not just that it's Square Enix. The big thing is that they said that every new character that comes out and every new map that comes out will be free. That is huge. That is a trend that I will support, and I hope that it continues all the way throughout and it spreads throughout the industry. I'm going to buy this game just because of that. Well, I was going to buy it anyway before because it's the Avengers and Square Enix. I love both of those things, and both of them combined. It's great. But I'm supporting that. That's what the video game industry needs to do. I've complained about this incessantly, and I will do it one more time. Don't give me a fucking unfinished game. Give me a finished game, okay? If you go to a restaurant, they don't give you the steak raw, all right? They don't just bring out the steak and then they're like, hey, if you want the potatoes, which will complete your meal, you'll have to pay us extra. Dude, I'll pay you extra. Just give it to me from the beginning. Just give me everything together. Don't give me an unfinished product. It pisses me the fuck off, okay? I have issues with it. Anyway, so that's number 5. Number 4, Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Finally, after years. It was announced years ago. But it will finally get a release date, and the release date is March 3rd, 2020. That's next year. Less than a year from now. And it's my birthday. Fun fact. March 3rd, 2020. So they also announced that it's going to be gigantic, huge. It's going to be two Blu-rays long. It's a massive game. Massive. So that should be really fun. I'm worried. No, I'm not so worried. I usually said that for a remake, all you have to do is just do the same thing that we loved already, but make it prettier. This one, I'll give them a little bit of leeway because if they add some of the mechanics from Final Fantasy 15, I'll be okay with it. It was fun. That one was really fun. And if they make a movie out of it, great. It's fantastic. I love Advent Children is one of my favorite movies. It's a great video game movie. Actually, the Final Fantasy movies are pretty good, except the first one. But Advent Children is fine, and the one for Final Fantasy 15 is really good. I enjoyed those. Anyway, that's number 4. For number 3, we got Cyberpunk 2077, the release date, April 16th, 2020. And that's where Keanu Reeves walked out on stage and became a meme. You're breathtaking. So it's great. I've mentioned this before. I did a podcast where basically I shared Keanu Reeves' story before everybody went nuts over Keanu Reeves. I was a fan before that. I did not go jump into this stupid wave, but I'm glad it happened. You know, it's about time the dude gets recognized. He's a great actor. He's a great guy. So he came out on stage. It was great. The game looks phenomenal. Created by CD Projekt Red, the guys who made The Witcher 3. If you recall what I said earlier, it was the game of the year at the time. So I'm very interested to see what they do, especially because I do not agree with anything that's going on in this world. It's supposed to be like a futuristic city where people have switched out body parts for mechanical parts to enhance themselves. That's what I was looking for mechanical enhancements. I am 100% against mechanical enhancements. Basically, because, well, I can get into it some other time. But the long and short of it is they could hack you. And I don't want somebody to be able to hack my eyes. I don't care if it will make me be able to look at, an ant that's 10 miles away. Or give me, X-ray vision or whatever. I don't give a fuck. I do not want somebody to be able to hack my eyes. Okay? Because people make this mistake, and I love this joke from Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan says that just because, well, it's not the joke, but the gist of it is that people think that they're smart because they know how to use things created by smart people. So just because you have enhanced eyes and you know how to use them doesn't mean that you know how to make them or how they work or understand them at all. So the odds of you getting hacked are super high. Super high. Anyway, also imagine if we're paranoid about the government listening to us through our phones or through our cameras, imagine if they could see through your fucking eyes. Anyway, but the game looks pretty good. So I could go on a rant for those. I got a lot of conspiracy theories, and I got a lot of rants I can go on them. But I don't like what's going on in that world, but the game looks pretty fun. And I like that Keanu Reeves is going to burn the city down. It's great. So good on that. Oh, and also it's got a surprise appearance by Keanu Reeves, and apparently his character will be very important. Silverhand will be very important for the story. So looking forward to that. I like this trend of big-name actors being a part of video games. I think it's a good thing. It makes... Okay, I need to double think that. It depends on the actor. Because some characters some actors I just would not believe in a particular role. I don't know if that makes any sense. So it depends on the casting choice, I guess. So, but as of now, that one seems like a good one. Number 2 of the top 10 from E3, we got Project Scarlet being announced by Microsoft. This will be the next Xbox, basically. And the big things you need to know, it comes out holiday season 2020. It comes out with the next Halo Infinite, which is confirmed will have split screen. The big fucking issue with Halo Guardians is that they took away the split screen. The best part of Halo is the split screen. The reason why Halo made the Xbox it was a console-worthy game. It was a game that made it worth it to buy a fucking Xbox was because of the split screen. You could play with your buddies. You could punch them if they were being stupid and playing right next to you. You're like, get the fucking attention. Cover me, dumbass. It was great. It was phenomenal. It was fantastic, and it's about time they get back to its roots. And I have no idea who the idiot was that decided, you know what, let's get rid of it. You don't think we need it? No, you're a bunch of fucking morons. Microsoft made a lot of mistakes with the Xbox One. They fucked up a lot. They shot themselves in the foot over and over again. Like, the PS4 completely and totally destroyed the Xbox One. Totally. You remember the E3 where they announced, like, oh yeah, if you're going to have the Kinect, and if you want to watch a movie, the Kinect is going to see how many people are in the room, and they're going to charge you for each one. What? And if you want to lend a game to your buddy, they're going to have to pay for it. Blah, blah, blah. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? And they fired that guy, and eventually they started fixing stuff, and they added backwards compatibility, which kind of saved it a little. But then they barely had any exclusives. Like, the PS4 exclusives completely beat out the Xbox exclusives, and by a lot. Like, it's really, really sad, the exclusives that came out for the Xbox One. And their best exclusive, Halo, did not have split screen. So, like I said, Halo Infinite, Project Scarlet, coming out holiday season 2020, and it will have split screen. Okay? Will have split screen, and hopefully a new Hunt the Truth. I love that podcast. It was very enjoyable. Also, the big thing that you know about the Scarlet, it's that it's going to be 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One X. So, looking forward to that. No more loading times. Loading times suck. But I'm guessing that's going to make the games bigger. And it doesn't matter. Okay, it's supposed to be more powerful, and the only thing I really care about is Halo getting back to what it once was. Because I'm itching to play Halo right now. Because I just re-listened to Hunt the Truth, and I'm really itching to play it. But I'm knee-deep in Red Dead Revolver. I'm having way too much fun doing all the challenges. I'm breaking in new horses left and right. It's fantastic. I love that game. But anyway, let me finish this list so that I can go home and play. The best thing, and I mentioned this when it was announced that I didn't think anything was going to beat it, and I was right. The number one thing that came out of E3 this year is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild getting a sequel. That might be the best game I've ever played in my life, at least of that genre. Then you know what? I'll give it to any genre. It's the best game I've ever played so far. It's a game that keeps evolving. It feels alive. The story's fantastic. Even though the main character doesn't say shit, it goes deeper. It goes into a direction that the Zelda story has never gone before. You start or correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first time you start after Link's failure, because it was technically a failure. So it's very different. Very, very different. Very, very difficult. And, or difficult in an enjoying way. I'll say it that way. Because there's a point in most games where you're like, okay, I get the hang of this. I can destroy anybody easily. No, here, you can't. You can't take any villain, lightly. You have to take them all seriously. Otherwise, they will make you pay the consequences. Anyway, they announced a sequel to that. They didn't say when, but I did not expect it. Zelda doesn't really do sequels that much. And if this was the greatest game ever made, and they're going to make a sequel for it, that is phenomenal. That is great. Kudos for you, Nintendo. You're getting it. Like I said, you killed it with the Switch. You won that generation. The Switch still has a lot of gas in the tank, so at this point, I think you're just going to keep rubbing, just pouring salt in the wound, like battery acid on the wound. Because I think they already outsold the PS4 and the Xbox One combined. I wouldn't be surprised. And honestly, I can't recommend you getting a Switch more, especially because all these kick-ass games are going to come out for it, and you can play it anywhere. So, congratulations, Nintendo. You are the clear winner of this round, and announcing a Breath of the Wild sequel is fantastic. It's great. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing great. So that's it. That's it for today. That was the big thing for today. I missed out on a whole bunch of news. Oh, let me just do a quick recap. So, number 5, we got The Avengers by Square Enix coming out. Number 4, Final Fantasy coming out March 3rd, my birthday. Number 3, Cyberpunk 2077 coming out April 16th, 2020. Number 2, we got Project Scarlet and Halo Infinite coming out holiday season 2020. And number 1, Legend of Zelda, the Breath of the Wild sequel being announced. So that's it for E3. We're done. If anybody has any questions or anything, I'll answer for you. You can find me at Instagram. At Instagram, idiot. At Dario the Show on Instagram. I will answer whatever you need there if I know the answer for it. Or if not, I'll speculate or make it up. You can't sue me. It doesn't matter. Can you? I'll need to look that up. Anyway, doesn't really matter. So that's it for today. I missed out on a whole bunch of news, a whole bunch of trailers that have been dropped. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I missed out from last week, from this weekend. So I will catch up on that tomorrow on Super Dario News. So as always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.